The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Tuesday. We're back with another edition of No Credentials Required, where you don't need a press pass to talk sports. We are proudly presented by Belly Up Sports. My name is McCarthy, and I'm one of the hosts. And to my right is a man who's currently playing hardball with the New Orleans Saints for the head coaching job, Dustin Henry.
I am. It's down to myself and Kellen Moore. Honestly, my offensive philosophy of run the damn ball is more closely aligned. So I think I got an inside track on the Saints job. We'll see.
Certainly do. You certainly do. Oh man. So as advertised, on Friday's show, we talked about no NFL this week after 21 consecutive weeks. But now Super Bowl Sunday will be soon upon us. Mm-hmm. But on Saturday morning, actually, let's take care of some business first before we get into everything and get into everything. Just want to remind you about our social media channels on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and on YouTube. Just search No Credentials Required. And on YouTube and on bellyupsports.com, check out our articles and more podcasts there. On the podcast side, subscribe to the podcast wherever you podcast, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Amazon Music, iHeart, TuneIn, and Pandora. And don't forget to get yourself notified. On Twitter, I still refuse to call it X. And on YouTube, that way you know when show clips go up, when announcements go up, you are notified. You get that check mark, hit that bell, get that notification, that beautiful notification. You'll know we got something cooked up. On the podcast side, rate, review, comment. Leave a rating. A 5-star rating would be very, really helpful. Leave a review if you're on a podcast platform where you can review. And also on Spotify, leave a comment. We'll read it on the air. If any kind of rating or review or comment, we'll read it on the air. Also, if you're watching on replay on Belly Up Sports' YouTube channel, please leave a comment in the comment section because it drives the algorithm. In addition to leaving a like, comments drive the algorithm because we're that kind of society now where everything is driven by algorithms and math, and I'm terrible at math.
Me too.
That makes yeah. So and also Dustin, since we're a live show at 6:30 on Tuesday and at Saturdays at 10 a.m., I'll have an announcement about that very, very briefly. My watch is telling me something.
I think it's chime time.
I do believe you are correct. All right. So we're going to get into it. We do have an announcement for Saturday's show. Saturday will be entitled Yet Another Super Bowl Preview Show. We do have our traditional co-host guest for the show for our Super Bowl preview, Cole Johnson, who is a frequent guest on No Credentials Required. He'll be back with us on Saturday's show. Unfortunately, Jared was unable to join us this week because he is unfortunately he'll be at a funeral. But we do have someone who will be making their No Credentials Required debut. I've got the element loading right now. Hold on just a second. It'll be right there in just a second. But we have a special guest. He's part of the Snowman crew. He's also done some stuff with our friend Drew Willingham on Total Football Talk Extra. It's loading. It's processing. Come on. You can do it. Come on. It's our friend, my friend, who I've been on Snowman show, Victor Locke. Victor Locke is an awesome guy. He knows his football. He's a Cowboys fan, so we'll try to take it easy on him. Here's the element. So this is the element I'll play on Saturday when I introduce him. Oh no!
Oh,
What happened?
I don't know. No sound.
Oh, I know what I know what I know.
We
what I
lost our
did.
background too. Oh man.
Nope, we didn't. I got it back.
Oh, there it
I
is.
put I uploaded it in the wrong place. You know,
I see.
you know what? Maybe I'll do on Saturday when he comes on. I'll put that in the background.
Yeah, change the background so it
Change
and I have a brief announcement on-air production meeting.
Oh,
I will be there Saturday as well, but I will be broadcasting from parts unknown.
okay. Can't wait to hear about where you see where you're broadcasting from. All right, I got the element up. We're gonna introduce him like
All
this.
right. I'm not even going to try to do it the way Cole does it,
No.
because I tried to do it one time and it was not good.
No, you can't do that. You cannot duplicate
No,
what the madness of Cole Johnson can create.
no, you can't do it. He's
That's
one of
why-
a kind.
Yes, he is absolutely one of a kind. He's one of the best. He's one of the best people in our streams, along with Snowman and Drew Willingham and Wiesel Hefe and
Oh yeah.
a large number of other people on Belly Up Sports who we've had on, who we've had bless us with their broadcasting chops, so to speak. All right, so we're gonna get into it. We're gonna talk about a lot of things, but you know what, Dustin? It's been a while since I've played this element, and I actually created a brand new one for the show.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Always working. Always
yeah.
working.
I'm always doing stuff. I'm always creating. Just like Cole Johnson is my inspiration. Like he's always creating, always come up with new stuff, always come up with new things. So it's been a while since we've done This Week in Sportsball, but I had to change it. I had to change the segment name because it's already a segment on John Boy Media called This Week in Sportsball. And what he does is that he takes you through all the events in sports, all the sports you don't watch or you missed out on and didn't really care to watch. Like he'll show obscure, like unless you pay attention to it, like he'll play some CFL highlights, he'll play some cricket highlights. He's big into cricket now, which is interesting, which is fun. And we'll try to get him on sometime because with football being over on Sunday, NFL season ending, on our production meeting, maybe we'll grab some guests.
Yeah.
And talk about other things before the baseball season begins, because we'll get into that. We'll get into the hockey playoffs. I'm sure Dustin will have some thoughts about the NBA playoffs as well.
Probably a little.
Maybe a little, yeah. Maybe we'll bring some subject matter experts in for basketball who know a thing or two about a thing or two. But in the meantime, let's talk about the weekend in sports ball. Got the element loading, still processing. Come on, you can do it. You can do it. Gonna cheer him on. You know what? In the meantime, let me play some Liam Cohen.
Duval.
Man, okay. So a little bit ago, I was on Seahawks sessions with one Staniel Smooth, and we were talking about the coaching hires that were relevant to the Seahawks. Clint Kubiak as OC, and Pete Carroll to the Raiders. We talked about Pete Carroll to the Raiders for a bit and I must correct myself, Ryan. This triggered my memory. I must correct myself. Mike Holmgren is a finalist for the Hall of Fame. It has not been confirmed that he will be in. I said when Snowman was on the show during the happy hour episode that he was going into the Hall of Fame. He is not. I think he will get in. Mr. Smooth and I talked about that briefly, but the reason I'm bringing Seahawks sessions up after this, after that beautiful clip of Cohen is because Somebody, I was telling Mr. Smooth on Facebook, and I have to get your thoughts on this because this made me laugh a lot harder than I should have.
Oh no.
Somebody on Facebook commented that Luke Cohen looks like if somebody tried to draw Dirk Nowitzki from memory. And
Oh my
I
god.
could not stop laughing.
Wow.
I could not stop laughing because, you look at him, you can kind of see it. You can kind of see it.
Anyway, here's the weekend in sports ball.
Man, watching that Wildcat touchdown will never get old on the Patriots there.
All the laterals. Oh, my
Oh
God.
yeah.
The only time I'll play a Miami Dolphins clip that is positive is that one. Is that intro for the weekend in sports ball. All right, we had some just because the NFL paused. Paused. Because the NFL paused this weekend doesn't mean that the sports news stopped. And we started on Saturday night, late Saturday night. I wasn't alluded to this I didn't hear about this until I woke up on Sunday morning before to get ready to go to church about this trade. The Dallas Mavericks traded, and I'm still trying to process this 4 days late, almost 4 days later.
I think you and most of the sports world is, Ryan.
I'm pretty much you are as a Dallas Mavericks fan are also trying to process this.
Yes.
Let me just get the details of the trade here. The Dallas Mavericks. Sorry, losing my train of thought while I get everything. The Dallas Mavericks traded Luka Doncic, Maxi Kleber, and Markieff Morris to the Los Angeles Lakers for Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and the Lakers' 2029 first-round pick. And the Jazz, and somehow this got included in the trade. The Utah Jazz received Jalen Hood-Schifino, the Los Angeles Clippers 2025 second-round pick, and the Dallas Mavericks 2025 second-round pick. Dustin, as a Dallas Mavericks fan, I'm gonna have you take the floor here.
All right.
There were some reasons why Luka Doncic was traded. Some of it had to do with the fact that he's a free agent next year. Others are the fact that I heard one take that Doncic was traded because the Dallas Mavericks didn't have to pay the league max for his contract renewal. So as a resident Dallas Mavericks fan, I'm going to have you take the floor on this one and talk about this trade and what a Dallas Mavericks fan should be feeling or is feeling currently.
Well, I can speak for, first of all, I warn everybody. I have been watching this. I have been reading about this. So some of these thoughts are not going to be my own. Usually I try not to, if we have something big to talk about, I try not to watch a lot of content around it or read a lot of articles about it or anything like that because I want the takes to be my own. But can't prevent it in this case. This was just so huge. I had to watch it. I have a morbid curiosity of how this could happen, and that's going to give you my my thoughts on the trade. Okay, so we're going to jump in here. First of all, I did not find out about this Saturday night. I was I think I was either watching a movie or playing video games, doing something Saturday night to where I wasn't tuned in to the TV. And I turned off the TV and I went straight to bed. So how I found out about this trade was via text. When I woke up the next morning, our buddy Derek, who is a Lakers fan, but I'm going to call him out a little bit. He's a Lakers fan when it's convenient. He texted me. He said, "Wow, bye-bye Luka in Dallas." I said, "What?" And he said, "Luka's going to my Lakers." And I was like, "Oh my God." So then I started trying to look, which was apparently a reaction that a lot of people had. Shams broke this trade on ESPN and people thought he got hacked. Okay. I've seen clips all over social media. One guy stopped his wedding to announce the trade and verify the trade. It was crazy. Another person posted video of they were at a party in Dallas when news of this trade broke. Everybody thought it was fake. Nobody thought it was real. Okay. Now we're going to get into the meat of the trade. It's been, from what I've seen on Mavs social media and from Mavericks fan, it has been a funeral outside of American Airlines Center, basically. And the overwhelming feeling, and I agree with it, Ryan, is that Luka should have retired a Dallas Maverick. You do not. He is considered by many top 5 player in the league, a top 5 player, and he is 25 years old. He's been in the league for 7 years.
That's
But
crazy.
he entered the league at 18, I believe. So that's how he's been around for so long already, and he is only 25. Now there are some people that are saying they think that this trade makes the Mavericks better in the short term. That may be. That may very well be. But my problem with this trade, and I am not the only one that thinks this, why did it have to be the Lakers? Why did you have to call the Lakers? You could have gotten more. You could have gotten more for Luka Doncic. And this is no disrespect to Anthony Davis, okay? But people want to say, oh, the Mavs traded him because of his injury history. Well, guess who is also injured right now, has been injured? Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis is oft injured. Whatever else you want to say about his play, he is oft injured. So if you want to level that as a criticism against Luka Doncic and a reason why the Mavs would pull this trigger, Anthony Davis is injured as well. And also, Anthony Davis is 6 years older than Luka. He shortens your window considerably. Luka was entering his prime. He wasn't even in his prime. Anthony Davis arguably having his best season this year. I get that, but he is at the edge of his prime. The Mavericks wanted size, and they supposedly wanted to shore up their defense. Anthony Davis gives them all these things, and also with Derek Lively at center, and also the other Daniel Gafford at center. Anthony Davis does not have to play center, which is something that he will be very happy about because he did not want to play center in LA. He had to because they didn't have a true center. He apparently went to the Lakers and asked about, hey, can we get a center so that I don't have to play center? So from a roster standpoint, if you want to try to justify this, you can make a case that this, I don't believe it, but people can make a case. People that know more about basketball than me say that this move improves the Mavs roster in the short term. But you can't let a star of Luka's magnitude get away. And also, it's the way that they handled it. There are reports coming out of Dallas that they specifically kept these trade talks quiet because they thought the blowback would be so severe. Well, now here it is. Luka did not know about this trade. Jason Kidd did not know about this trade. They said as much at the press conference yesterday. Nico Harrison made this trade with Rob Pelinka. It was those two. Those two talked about this trade. And from the sounds of it, one of the Mavs' new owners and Nico Harrison knew about this trade from the Mavs end of things. And on the Lakers, LeBron didn't know about it, which is shocking. They didn't even talk to LeBron. They kept everything secret. And so this, to me, why not go try to get Anthony Edwards? If you want to trade Luka Doncic because you don't believe in his conditioning and you don't believe that he's worth a supermax and all these things that are supposedly coming out of Dallas now after the trade, that's the crappy thing that I really don't like either. The Mavs are, it seems like the Mavs are leaking things to kind of justify, well, this is why we did it. His conditioning stinks. We've always tried it. We've tried to talk to him about his conditioning. We've tried to emphasize that he needs to get better conditioning. His blow by, they talk about his defense and how horrible it is. I get all that. He had the worst blow by rate in like 44% or something crazy. Luka does not play defense, but in my opinion, my completely uneducated opinion, the Luka brought people to Dallas. People wanted to play with Luka Doncic. Luka Doncic and his led team just brought you to the NBA Finals. Now, did you get almost swept there pretty much? Yes. You won, I think, one game, but you got swept. For all intents and purposes, the Celtics destroyed the Mavericks, but you still got to the NBA Finals with Luka Doncic. So for Nico Harrison to come out and say, I'm making this trade. This trade was my responsibility. Jay Kidd didn't know about it. Nobody else knew about it. This is my responsibility. He said, in 5 years, I'll look like a genius or I won't be here anymore. Truer words have never been spoken, Nico, and I do not like the way the Mavericks are handling this. I do not like that it was cloak and dagger with the Lakers. If you're going to shop him and have the courage to tell the player involved, hey, we're going to shop you. Tell him, Luka did not know about this trade. According to Chandler Parsons, he just closed on like a $15 million house in Dallas 2 weeks ago. He had no idea this was happening. Nobody did. And it just seems like two guys decided to get together at a coffee shop who had a pre-existing relationship. And I think Nico Harrison, Anthony Davis is a great player. He's a wonderful player. People are acting like he's trash after this trade. He is not trash. I'm looking forward to see what he can do for the Mavs roster, but you could have got more from other teams. There is no denying that, but you went to the Lakers because you had a relationship with Rob Pelinka. You went straight to the Lakers and you're like, oh, we got to keep this quiet because we don't want people to know that we're shopping him and we don't want to get back to Luka. This is just an unprofessional way to handle this, in my opinion. For Nico Harrison. We'll see. We'll see what happens because this move defines him. Whether he wants to admit it or not, this is what his career will be judged by. But I don't understand how you get rid of a player of Luka's caliber. And now for the next 10 years, the Lakers have their building piece. They have their building piece. They don't have to worry if LeBron retires anymore. They have somebody who will aside from everything else that comes with playing in LA, he is a piece. People will want to play with him. You do not trade a player that can drop 70. 70 is a realistic possibility with Luka Doncic. You do not get rid of that. Mark Cuban once said when he was still the owner of the team. Now, Cubes was a little too involved in basketball decisions. I will say that. But he openly said, if I have to decide between divorcing my wife or trading Luka Doncic, you will see me at the courthouse filing for a divorce. Mark Cuban would have never pulled this trade ever. And I am just shocked. You can't get rid of somebody who can score 70 as a possibility, despite his defensive deficiencies and all the holes that you're seemingly now poking in his game, where you have previously you were very happy when he took you to the NBA Finals, but there has been so many things surrounding this trade that are coming out, and it's been apparently there was more. If all the reports are to be believed, there was more friction between Luka Doncic and the Mavs than we are led to believe. But who knows? I still can't see. And not even telling your coach about the trade, not even telling Jason Kidd about the trade. It's ridiculous. I don't like it at all, Ryan. Oh, man. But with that being said, good luck to AD. I hope you play very well for the Mavs. This is nothing against you. A lot of Mavs fans are putting hate on AD. Don't do it in the short term. The offense getting turned over to Kyrie, not a bad thing. And our defense is going to be amazing. The Mavericks defense is going to be amazing, hopefully. But man, I don't see how you trade a 25-year-old that is considered top 5 for a 32-year-old player. You could have gotten more.
I have nothing else to add.
Oh, man.
I just figured, as a Mavericks fan, I would have reacted the same way if, say, the Jets had traded Garrett Wilson.
Yeah.
Or if they had traded what's his face?
Breece Hall.
Breece Hall, thank you.
Yeah.
There's actually I saw a clip of a screenshot of somebody from ESPN suggesting that the Jets should draft Ashton Janty.
No, why?
I almost lost my
Who
mind.
is this person? Because not only do they have Breece Hall, but they also have who was their running back last year? He did very well in relief of Breece Hall a little bit.
I know who you're referring to, and I can't remember his name. Braylon Allen.
Yeah, Braylon Allen. Okay, yep.
Yeah. Somebody suggested that he go there, and I'm like, you are out of your cotton picking mind, my friend.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know anything like comparative to the people that were speaking on this trade. I know nothing about basketball, but I don't understand how you trade Luka Doncic, and it's more the way the Mavericks have handled it after the fact. It's very. A lot of people are saying it was a betrayal, and that's what it feels like, and I think that's why fans are mad. And I was telling somebody at work today, it had to be the Lakers. Why? The fact that it's the Lakers that get Luka makes it worse.
That's what makes it more infuriating. And I'm old enough to remember when David Stern vetoed that trade, the trade that would have sent Chris Paul to the Lakers.
Yeah.
Instead, he got shipped to the Clippers.
Yep. The
from
Clippers at the time.
From New Orleans. So, if Adam Silver had any kind of cojones, that trade would have never happened because of the fandom because of the Mavericks fandom. I remember back in the day when the Mavericks were an absolute dog's breakfast.
Oh yeah.
Before Mark Cuban came around and helped invest money in the team, invest time in the team, built them new facilities, got them, ownered them up, so to speak. And now this happens, and I feel like, you're right, absolutely, that this is a betrayal to the fans who have seen Luka since he turned 8, since he came to the league at age 19, and won Rookie of the Year in his first year, and have watched him grown and matured and become this absolute superstar for the league. And now you trade him to arguably the biggest market in terms of basketball in the league. If let me ask you this though. If he didn't go to the Lakers, if he had gone to the Knicks, would you be this, I wouldn't say cross, but I would say annoyed?
I don't think quite as much, because if he had gone to the Knicks, it would have at least implied that they shopped him a little bit. Because the reports that are coming out are that they were afraid. They kept this thing top secret because they were afraid that the blowback would be so crazy. But in my mind, I'm like, have some courage. If you're going to do it, do it. If you don't think he's worth the Supermax next year that you would have had to pay him, which was like, what, 385? Something crazy, like $385 million. If you don't think he's worth the Supermax deal, then stand on your business, as people would say, and just shop him. Just tell the whole league he's available and see what kind of offers you could get. You think Jason Tatum was probably untouchable by the Celtics, but you could have at least given it a shot. You could have, instead of just going straight to the Lakers and being like, hey, but apparently Nico Harrison said that he wants to create a team in the vision, and it's his vision on this team now. And the thing is, he has done this to himself by trading a player for the caliber of Luka Doncic. if you don't win at least 2 NBA championships within the next 3 years, because I think that's what the window is, because Anthony Davis is 32. Kyrie is older than that. They had young, and they still do have some young players, but Luka was their youngest star, their youngest superstar, and they just completely accelerated their window. And Nico Harris said that he's in a win now mode. Well, you better win now or you're going to be in big trouble, because this franchise, I mean, you trading a star of this caliber is for what amounts to Anthony Davis, very, 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 very good player. He is a top 10 player in the league. But what gets me, Ryan, is his age. And they were saying that Luka's injury history played a factor into it. Anthony Davis, through no fault of his own, has not been a paragon of health. No. So, to me, it neutralizes that argument. Yeah. Go get a younger player. If you're going to trade somebody of Luka's age and Luka's caliber, go get younger players at least.
Right. Now I'm looking at the standings right now, and the Lakers are in 5th place in the Western Conference currently. Dallas is in a play-in situation. They're currently 8th. I think that trade had not so much more to do for the Supermax, which would have been 5 years and $345 million, which would be about $69.5 million a year, if my math is correct.
Yeah.
5 years. Let's do the math.
Well, and now the crazy thing is, Ryan, I've been thinking about it all day, but my favorite athlete to wear number 4, taking that beer away, after the Western Conference Finals, that takes on a whole new meaning.
Yeah.
If they were that concerned about, and who knows, we don't know. I don't know. I didn't follow the team closely enough. I don't know how many times they tried to talk to Luka about his conditioning. They tried to tell him. And one person did make a good point, because Brian Windhorst was famously very hard on Luka Doncic during the NBA Finals last year. He kind of shredded him on TV a little bit and said he's got a lot to learn if he wants to be a winner. He's got to get better. And he said, by his account, nobody in the Mavs organization came to the defense of Luka. He didn't hear anybody. He said, usually when you rip a star like that on TV, you're going to hear about it. Somebody from their camp or their team is going to come and say, hey, you shouldn't be doing that. And he said Jason Kidd talked to Luka about his conditioning many, many times now, and somebody made a point. I forget who it was, because like I said, I've watched a lot of people's takes on this, and they made a decent point, but it still doesn't justify it in my opinion, because he proved he can do it the way that he can do it. But somebody said he's 25. His conditioning and metabolism is the best it's going to be. From here, it goes downhill. If the habits to work out and the habits to keep yourself in shape are not there at the professional level at this stage, they're never going to develop when he's older. Now, Luka said different things in the press conference in LA, because he was asked about it, but he said it's a motivating factor for sure. He said it's a motivating factor. All the stuff about the conditioning and everything that have come out in recent days. But he said Dallas was home. He said this came as a huge shock. And somebody asked him in the media, they said, had you given any indication to Dallas or through any of your representatives that you would not have signed a Supermax to stay there? And he said, none, absolutely not. He would have signed to stay. But so this comes down to the Mavericks organization, specifically Nico Harrison and one of the Mavs' new owners, apparently believing that essentially Luka's not worth the Supermax.
So yeah, I did the math, $69.5 million a year for 5 years. And I have to wonder if Harrison has somebody he's got his eye on during the draft, because if he's willing to trade arguably the biggest star that the Dallas Mavericks have had over the last half decade to the Lakers for their 2029 draft pick, which is hysterical, because it seems like every year the Lakers make a trade and they sacrifice a first round pick. and I don't think they're going to have a first round pick again until like 2030.
Oh man.
But I have to wonder if now I'm kind of thinking about it a little bit.
Mhm.
Excuse me. I wonder if Harrison has his eye on somebody in the draft that he says, yeah, I want to build on this player in the future. But I don't watch college basketball or pay attention
Yeah.
in the draft enough to really have it warrant my attention to find out who he's talking about. But
Yeah, I mean, that's at least what I mean, you bring up an interesting point because that 2029 pick, even by the odds, okay, let's say that everything works out in the trade works out, and you get it's a long shot that Nico Harrison would still be there in 2029 to use that first round pick. So you have to think that maybe he's got his eye on somebody and he wants that 2029 first round pick as ammunition to go make another trade or trade up in the draft, or who knows? Who knows? Because you're not, the odds are just in the way the sporting world is, you may not make it to 2029 to use that pick at all. 2029 is a sophomore in high school right now, I think. So you know, you don't know, and apparently it's just things keep coming out. Danny Ainge, he didn't realize that he's the GM of the Jazz. He did not realize that they were involved into the trade until 30 minutes before it happened. It's like that's why it has such a different feel, because they talked to nobody, they shopped them to nobody, they went right to the Lakers. It's Pelinka, it's Harrison. They did this together.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna move on from this trade. Dustin's fired up, and I gotta contain his fire somehow.
yeah.
So we're gonna transition over to the Royal Rumble, which was Saturday night, and I didn't watch the full pay-per-view. Sorry, premium live event. I was out getting some stuff for my class, but while I was out, I guess the Women's Rumble happened. Charlotte Flair won. No surprise. The tag team titles didn't change. No surprise. It's probably going to change at Summer. It's going to change at WrestleMania, as it usually does, because titles always change. Some titles are always going to change at WrestleMania.
Oh yeah,
it's a guarantee. But the two matches I watched were the ladder match with Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens. Man, you want to talk about some spots that were just incredible? They had some spots. Rhodes and Owens had some spots. Now, I don't watch wrestling every week. Like I watch the review shows. I watch Up and Downs with Simon Miller. Shout out to my fellow bald a-hole out there. I'll watch the review shows, but I will watch the big four when it comes to pay-per-views or premium live events. I will watch Royal Rumble. Now that I have not that they're all on Peacock, I don't have to spend $50. I don't have to shell out $50 for to my local cable company. I can just watch it on Peacock, which is awesome. So I'm gonna watch Royal Rumble. I sure as heck I'm gonna watch WrestleMania. I'm gonna watch SummerSlam, and I'm gonna watch Survivor Series, because those are the big four events. Those are the four I grew up watching in my when I was a lot younger watching wrestling. So getting back to the ladder match with Rhodes and Owens, if Vince McMahon were still running creative at WWE, some of those spots would have never happened. The brain buster off the top rope onto a ladder.
That's the one I saw, yeah.
And you could tell both men were. You could tell Cody Rhodes was knocked out. You could tell he was gone. Now it looks like he's playing possum, but I think he was truly knocked out. And I think the reason why you had CC Sami Zayn run to the ring, you see all the officials run to the ring, is to get time for him to wake up, because you didn't see the referee doing this.
Yeah, he didn't
call for the ambulance. Didn't do the X to call for the ambulance. They kept the match going, and you see the spot with the Alabama slam onto the table, and whew, man, there's some hard hitting spots in that match. And then we get to the main event, and from what I understand, next year's Rumble is going to be 2 nights as well. So they
Oh,
split
wow.
off WrestleMania into 2 nights, which they started in 2020. I'm
Mhm.
cool with that. I actually kind of like that more.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
this past year's SummerSlam was 2 nights, which I'm okay with. It's it's decent, but I also like the fact that they moved these pay-per-views to Saturday night, because I'm not up to like 11:30 midnight, on Sunday,
Yeah.
and then mainlining coffee the next day.
We have day jobs, people.
Yes, we have day jobs. But I watched the Rumble, and I'd say probably about almost halfway through. No, I'm sorry. Right after 12, when Jacob Fatu entered. By the way, the fact that Rey Mysterio and Penta started the Royal Rumble was awesome. It was just chef's kiss.
See,
'Cause
that's
you
old
saw-
school WCW with starting with the cruiserweights.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yes, you see Rey Mysterio, who I mean, that guy's almost 50, and he's still going strong.
Yeah.
And you got the recently signed Penta, who is awesome as well. So after them, Chad Gable comes in. I like Chad Gable. He's kind of like Kurt Angle light in a way. Like
Okay.
he's a national championship wrestler. I don't think he ever went to the Olympics though, with a broken freaking neck. But he came in. I like his style. Followed by Carmelo Hayes, by Santos Escobar, by Otis. I love Otis. Otis is one of my favorite guys. Is one of my favorite wrestlers right now, just because he's such a goofy character. He's like a big dude, but he's got like this character. Braun Breaker, aka the son of Scott Steiner. He's
that's right. Yeah.
like, that dude is good. Like, he's not only like big, but he's fast. He played running back at Kennesaw State.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah. And he's got a brother who currently plays in the NCAA. So, who's actually got an NIL deal with the WWE.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So after Braun Breaker, it was supposed to be who's that guy? The Japanese guy from American Tozawa. It was supposed to be him, but Carmelo Hayes had a temper tantrum and eliminated him. So they got that iShow Speed guy, the streamer.
Oh,
And have you seen the clip of him getting absolutely speared out of his shoes by Braun Breaker?
yes, I did see that clip. Yeah.
WWE has a clip on social media from about 8 different angles of that spear, and every single one of them are just so much fun. So then comes Sheamus, then comes Jimmy Uso, then Andrade, and Jacob Fatu comes in and eliminates like 4 guys immediately. And that's when then my sister comes in. And we just talking about the day. We went to a 90s and 2000s brunch earlier in the day, and I still wasn't feeling great. Like, I was super dehydrated, so I wasn't feeling great, but I was feeling much better after I got a couple of but I know they're not a sponsor, but shout out to Rehab by Monster. That's some good hydration right there.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. Actually, I'm gonna put myself in news layout here. So, because I'm kind of going here. So my sister came in as Ludwig Kaiser was coming to the ring. She's like, "What the hell is this?" My sister started watching it with me. Like, we just got talking about different subjects, and all of a sudden we're just watching it together. And she's like, Ludwig Kaiser comes to the ring with his Hitler Youth haircut and his shorts. She's like, "Who the hell is this guy?" I'm like, "Yeah, that haircut's not great. That's not a great haircut." Then you got the Miz coming out. My sister's like, "What is that guy? With the headband?" And like, yeah, he was. I said, "Yeah, he was on Real World." She goes, "He was?" Like, "Yeah, Mike Mizanin. He was talking about during the Real World. He was talking about how he was going to be a professional wrestling. He was going to be in WWE someday." She goes, "Oh yeah, I do remember him."
Yep. Real World Vegas, The Miz.
And then number 15, you hear this. Say his name and he appears. My sister's like, "What?" And I told her that he produced his own theme song. Like, not only is the guy a wrestler, he's been the wrestler for about 15 years. Finally, comes to America, wins the TNA world title. Great on him. He's like a really good, Like in Scotland and the UK, he was one of the most well-known professional wrestlers. But he makes his own music. He goofs on the other wrestlers, which is hysterical. Like, you just look at clips of him goofing on other wrestlers, not only in TNA in TNA, but also in the Insane Championship Wrestling in Scotland and UK. Like he'll goofs on other wrestlers, and it's hysterical. He's not only like very good wrestler, but he's also a talented musician, and he's just straight up funny. Like he's straight up funny. So you see him do the whole background thing as soon as you hear "I believe in Joe Hendry," he does his thing, which is great. And then 16 is Roman Reigns, and this is this is the line of the night for my sister. As soon as Roman Reigns starts to come out, as soon as Roman Reigns enters, his music hits. She goes, "He has outstanding hair." And it makes me very angry that he has had better hair than I do. Close quote.
Roman's got better hair than a lot of people.
This is true, including myself. Then Drew McIntyre comes out. And she's like, "Ooh, I like him." She's like, "I love me some Drew McIntyre." I'm like, "It's very handsome." Then at 18 is Finn Balor. My sister can't understand what the sleeves are on his arms. It's like, what's up with the sleeves? I'm like, I don't know. Rash guards, I guess. Then Shinsuke Nakamura comes out. Then Jey Uso, AJ Styles, Braun Strowman. When Braun Strowman came out, like, holy crap, that guy's huge. I'm like, yeah, he's 6'9" and 385 pounds. Yeah, you would be shocked. I guess he's also like, his dad was also a professional softball player. And was well known as one of like the best men's softball players ever. 23, John Cena. Like, she knows about John Cena. She knows who he is. 24, CM Punk. And he starts walking to the ring and she's like, all right, he's pretty handsome. So takes off his shirt, got the tattoos. Like, he got really old school tattoos, huh? I'm like, yeah, he's been around for a while. Then they show a clip of my sister's like, okay, he's pretty good looking. All of a sudden, it pans to a close up of his face, and my sister's like, oh. She sees the bags under his eyes.
Yeah. He's
25. Seth Rollins, again, another guy who my sister is viscerally angry that has better hair than she does. 26, Dominic Mysterio, and she's like, Mysterio, and she looks at him. She's like, what is this? With the mustache and the long hair.
Yeah, the mullet making the comeback,
27, Sami Zayn. He's got the man bun. She's like, my sister's like, wrestlers have man buns now. I'm like, yep, wrestlers have man buns now. 28, Damian Priest. 29, LA Knight. Yeah. And then number 30, Logan Paul, who everybody hates except for Logan Paul. Now, I like the flow of this Rumble. I liked how we got a lot of spots that need to be that had with the I like the flow of the thing. I like people the wrestlers got to do their own spots, and we saw the spear by. I think I Show Speed wanted to get speared by Braun.
Probably,
you could tell he was waiting for it,
anticipating
it, because you gotta have at least one celebrity or one. And Logan Paul and I Show Speed, I guess they're linked together as YouTubers. But you got that. You got John Cena coming back, his farewell tour. I mentioned in the green room that this was John Cena's last year, and I said to Dustin, I said, if WWE comes to Albany or Glens Falls for a house show and John Cena's there, we're going. And we're getting the John Cena farewell tour t-shirts.
I've never been that big of a fan of John. No hate on him.
That's okay.
I just never watched while he, the the era of John Cena was not my era.
The PG era was not either of our, actually he kind of was the one who started the ruthless aggression era,
Yeah, that's
which
where
kind
the
of flowed into the PG era, and now we're in the Netflix era. So, or the Triple H era, as I like to call it, the rise of trips. At one point, you had, I think the final 6 were Roman Reigns, CM Punk, Cena, Rollins, Logan Paul, and Jey Uso. And it's like, this is crazy how we have some of the best wrestlers like for the last decade and a half, 2 decades,
yeah.
are on the same ring together, which is pretty cool, which is pretty special.
Yeah, something like that. And by all accounts, too, just to say, I am no fan of Logan Paul either. But the one thing that you cannot argue with is wrestlers have come out themselves and been like, the stuff that he can do
Yeah.
with his short amount of time relatively in the ring is insane. And they said that he takes it very seriously and he prepares very well. So I got to give him that. I got to give him that.
So the final 6 are those are the final 6 in the ring. Reigns and Rollins are trying to eliminate each other. CM Punk eliminates them both. I'm like, okay, cool. We're starting to see the storylines develop. It's going to be, Reigns and Rollins are going to face each other at WrestleMania. It's going to be a grudge match. That's for sure. And then Logan Paul eliminates CM Punk. And it's like, why? Like, we talked about, like, nobody likes Logan Paul, but we know what Logan Paul brings to the table in terms of his viewership and his eyes on the product. Then the whole thing goes outside the ring with CM Punk and Rollins, and then Rollins curb stomping Reigns twice, once on the steps. And I guess the storyline is that Reigns is going to be out for a while, but I guess he's doing movies right now. So he'll be back at WrestleMania for sure. They get the whole grudge thing between Rollins and Punk and all that stuff. And while that's going on in the ring, the last 3 are Jey Uso, John Cena, Logan Paul, and you're like, I did not have this in my bingo card. So Paul is gone, and you got Jey Uso and John Cena. And I'm like, okay, John Cena's got to win this. He's got to win this. And then you see Jey Uso shove John Cena to the mat, and Jey Uso is your 2025 Men's Royal Rumble winner. Now, I have to address this.
Okay.
I have to address the people on social media who have rage quit WWE because of the results of the Rumble. Why are you shocked? Honestly, why are you shocked? And we don't really talk wrestling, pro wrestling. I know credentials required a whole lot. This is like really the first time. But again, I'm going to bring this up when I'm going to talk about WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Talk about SummerSlam.
Yeah. Survivor
Series. Like, those are the 4 we'll cover. Unless like somebody local from the area makes it big. Like Bobby Fish. Graduated from Colony High School in 1994. He's a professional wrestler. Last seen in TNA, I believe. But I have to address the rage quitting and the criticism on social media from this. Like, we all knew Charlotte Flair was going to win because she's coming back. Like, she was out for over a year.
Yeah.
And you knew it was going to happen. I knew it was going to happen. Why are you rage quitting over something you knew was going to happen? And then I see the criticism about Jey Uso winning. Oh, he's not a good singles competitor. This and that. He hasn't grown into a singles competitor yet. Listen. He's only there to sell merch. Duh. What else do you do in wrestling? You bring the people to the show. You sell merch. Like, he's one of the highest selling merch guys out there with his catchphrase, the yeet catchphrase, the sunglasses, the t-shirts. He is a very good worker too. Like, he trained with he and his brother Jimmy Uso. They trained with Booker T.
Yeah.
They're the son of Rikishi.
Yeah. As their credentials You don't have to go through them. They're
No.
good. And the other thing is too, I think what sometimes, and I don't watch the current product at all, so I'm coming in out of nowhere with this, but
Right.
also I just feel like fans don't often remember, one, you have no control over the outcome. It's predetermined. The outcome is predetermined based on a variety of factors, some of which Ryan just laid out. But the other thing is they're trying to tell a story for an entire year.
Yes.
Okay. It's not
That's
like
what I was getting to. That's what I was going to allude to.
Yeah.
Storyline.
Yeah.
Charlotte Flair, we all know she's one of the great, arguably the greatest female women's wrestler of all time. You can make that. I mean, as of right now, you could say Toni Storm. You could say in AEW. She's really the only reason why people are watching AEW right now. Bayley, like the four horsewomen, Charlotte, Bayley, Sasha Banks, although she's in AEW right now, being misbooked. God Almighty, and then Becky Lynch, who was not in this Royal Rumble. Like those are the four women who have basically been the cornerstone of women's professional wrestling for the last decade. So you knew this is going. Bayley won last year. Remember, Bayley won last year, and I saw people melting down from it. Like, guys don't understand. They're the pillars of the company.
Yeah.
They were the pillars of the company. And again, storyline. We saw the vignettes on SmackDown with Charlotte Flair with the, some people say I'm privileged, and her being on the yacht in a bikini and with a dress on and in front of a private plane. Like, she's taking that to her dad. Her dad did the same thing. Ric Flair did the same thing when he was in when he's in the NWA. Yeah. And then going over to Jey Uso, excuse me. Did you forget what happened on Saturday Night's main event a couple weeks ago when he lost to Gunther in the World Championship World Championship match? He's going back for that title. It's going to happen. That's how it's going to be booked. And then we're going to see next month this Elimination Chamber. And either CM Punk or John Cena is going to win that one. And one of them will challenge Cody Rhodes for the Universal title. So this all comes down to storyline, how we're building stories. This worked with the Bloodline, with the end of the Bloodline last year, when Cody Rhodes lost at Mania in 23. You knew he was going to come back and win the title the next year and beat Roman Reigns. And I remember getting really upset over that result in 23. But then in retrospect, I'm like, why was I so upset? And I think people are going to realize when they start watching it again, they're going to come back to it. Mm-hmm. People will say, oh, I'm done with WWE, blah, 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 blah. You're coming back. Okay. You're coming back. WrestleMania is right around the corner. This is WrestleMania season now. You're going to watch. Okay. You're going to want to wonder what's going to happen with the storylines going to happen. You're coming back. Don't rage quit. Don't announce it on social media like you're departing from an airplane. It's like this is social media, not an airport. You don't have to advertise your departure. You're coming back. So, wow, we've got almost an hour with no commercial break, Dustin.
Yes, we have, because I went, Kevin, I see you in the comments. I went 36, count them, 36 minutes on the Luka Doncic trade, okay? So go back go watch it in the replay, Kevin, and let us know in the comments if you wrote an article about it on Belly Up.
Yeah. So, Julie says hi. She said hi at the top of the show. And then Kevin Wilson coming in with this off the top rope with this Alabama slam. I'm late to the dance, but let me just say, the Mavs are dead to us in this house. Wow. He's big mad.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right. We're going to take our network mandated commercial break. When we come back, we've got a couple more things to talk about. We'll try to wrap it up in a tidy window, but we never know with this show. But we're going to take a quick commercial break. Stand by and stay tuned for more. No credentials required.
Righteous Felon Craft Jerky is the official jerky of Belly Up Sports. For over a decade, Righteous Felon Craft Jerky has led the American meat snack revolution by concocting delicious, adventurous, U.S.-sourced jerky recipes for uncompromising carnivores across the country. With 15 different flavors to choose from, Righteous Felon has all jerky lovers covered, and by using promo code BELLYUP, You will get 15% off your purchase at righteousfelon.com. Do your taste buds a favor today and rip into a bag of Righteous Felon jerky.
That's right, folks. Righteous Felon Craft Jerky. Dustin, I got a nice box in the mail yesterday from Righteous Felon Craft Jerky. I ordered a bunch of beef sticks, which is my mid-morning snack now. I ordered some craft jerky. Had the teriyaki balboa today, which is a nice teriyaki inspired recipe with a little bit of black pepper, a little bit of bite to it. But I also got myself I haven't tried the bourbon Franklin yet, so I got a pack of that too.
Ooh, I might have to try that after the show here.
Yeah. So yeah, what you want to do? Yeah, I'm good. They're all great flavors. They're all excellent flavors for whatever you like. If you like a little bit of the sweet, they got that. A little bit of the savory, you got that. If you want something, quick snack, the beef stick. Unlike the convenience stores where you see some of the beef sticks where their primary ingredient is pulverized chicken. Unlike those beef sticks, shame on them. Unlike those beef sticks, Righteous Felon beef sticks are 100% beef. So that's what you get. But it's not just the jerky or the biltong or the beef sticks. They've also got dog treats.
Oh yeah.
And as Dustin has said on this program many a time when we've advertised Righteous Felon, his dog nephew Pickles absolutely loves the Righteous Felon craft jerky or Righteous Felon craft jerky, the Ranger treats, the Ranger dog treats, Wild Ranger dog treats, I believe it's what they're called.
Yes. He does love them, and they shipped incredibly fast. So I was able to get them to him right before Christmas Eve because I procrastinated in the holiday season. I had everybody done but Pickles, and then I went, oh no. But then I said, who has dog treats? Righteous Felon. Let me use the promo code. Let me get free shipping on my order and it arrived real fast. And this was in the hustle and bustle of the holiday season. So hats off to Righteous Felon for getting that order out there quick for me. And I've had the Truffalo Bill. I enjoyed that as well. I love the original beef stick. I really liked it. I'm craving it now. I got to try what Ryan ordered after the show. I'll be ordering some.
Yeah. So what you want to do is go to righteousfelon.com, put some stuff in your basket at the checkout. You put promo code BELLYUP for 15% off your order. But that's not all. Because if you order $50 or more in your basket, which is what I did, you get fast and free shipping. And you can combine it with the promo code, save yourself some even more cash-ola. So again, righteousfelon.com. Thank you for being a premier sponsor with Belly Up Sports. Promo code BELLYUP at checkout. 15% off your order and free shipping for any orders over $25.
Put the jerky in the basket. Put the jerky in the basket.
That's right. You tell him, Cartman.
Puts the lotion on its skin or else it gets the hose again. Please, mister, let me out. Put the lotion in the fucking basket.
But instead of lotion, it's jerky. All right, we're going to move quickly over to our next topic in this weekend in sports ball. Not just one. So I forgot about this other trade that is going to be transpiring. Myles Garrett announced on social media today he wants out of Cleveland. Meanwhile, Cooper Kupp has been told by the LA Rams they're going to trade him in the offseason. Now, I've got some ideas as to where they land, but when you heard about this news, I kind of broke it. I say broke it. I put it in our Discord channel, which is in the description, by the way. Mm-hmm. Join us for some talk. No chuds allowed. Only great people, only good people. You can join in the sports conversation. We're pretty active in there, depending on the sport, but mostly it's NFL and MLB right now with spring training coming up. But I put the what Myles Garrett wrote on social media yesterday and talked about how he was actually, you know what? I'll read the memo. It says, as a kid, I dreamed of the NFL. All I focused on was the ultimate goal of winning a Super Bowl. And that goal fuels me today more than ever. My love for the Northeast Ohio and the incredible fan base of the Cleveland Browns has made this one of the toughest decisions of my life. These past years have shaped me into the man that I am today. While I've loved calling the city my home, my desire to win and compete on the biggest stages won't allow me to be complacent. The goal was never to go from Cleveland to Canton. It's always been to compete for and win a Super Bowl. With that in mind, I have requested to be traded from the Cleveland Browns. Signed, Myles Garrett. Now, judging from his response, yes, he's 20. He just turned 29 years old. And he's been on some teams that could have arguably gone to a Super Bowl. The closest he got was 2021 when the Browns beat the Pittsburgh Steelers in the first round of the 2020 playoffs. They took the Kansas City Chiefs to the limit in the AFC Championship. Last year, they went from dog water to a wild card spot, and were unfortunately had the beaks breaking off the brakes beaten off of them by the Houston Texans in the wild card.
Yep.
This year, they were expected to be a wild card contender, if not compete for the AFC South or AFC North, excuse me. And things went south in a hurry. Yeah. It wasn't so much the defense's fault, but the offense couldn't do anything with Deshaun Watson at quarterback. It doesn't matter. Actually, it didn't matter who was at quarterback. They couldn't do anything on offense.
No.
So it was not in the defense. And Myles Garrett, I suspect, is probably getting very tired of being on a team that goes to a certain level and just stops. And now he wants out of Cleveland. He wants to win a Super Bowl. I looked at the spot track to see what his cap hit was. It's not that bad. It increases as he gets to 2027, where his contract can be voided and he can become an unrestricted free agent. But again, he's also just turned 29, and time is, when you're 29 in the NFL, time starts to run out.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, what are some destinations where you think you could probably go where you can get the cap, they have the cap space to do it, and they're in a spot to win right now?
Well, the thing is, I mean, as a Seahawks fan, I'd love to add him to the pass rush, but they don't. If memory serves, their cap situation's not so good. Maybe Kevin can help me out, because I do. Kevin, myself, and Mr. Smooth, we were talking about it. We have a Twitter group, direct message group that Staniel Smooth has affectionately named Seahawks Numbskulls, and we were talking about it a little bit, and we were discussing pursuing the trade route for Myles Garrett. I mean, I'd love to have him in Seattle, but I don't think he goes there. I think as far as a team to win now, Buffalo. I don't know enough about Buffalo's cap situation, but does Buffalo view this as a potential piece to finally slay the Giants, that is the Chiefs? Because barring some unforeseen meltdown in Kansas City next year, if they're not back in the AFC title game, at least they'll probably be dealt with in the playoffs for sure. I think especially if that defense stays together, the Chiefs have a shot at being back. So will the Bills be aggressive about trying to go after Myles Garrett and land him?
So right now, as of right now, the Buffalo Bills are $10 million over the salary cap.
Oh, that's bad.
So that's a landing spot that might not happen. But again, this is just right now. Free agency, once the league year begins, on March 1st, because the league year ends pretty soon, like after the Super Bowl. So, as soon as the Super Bowl ends, you get like a 2-week break, and then free agency begins. Contracts start to be voided. Players start to get released. So we don't know what the cap situation is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people have said Buffalo because of Von Miller's situation. We don't know what's going to happen with him.
Yeah.
If he's going to retire, if he's going to be released. His cap hit is extraordinary, as is Josh Allen's. So Right now, they're according to Spot Track, they're 10 million over the cap, so that's not a landing place for them.
What about the Lions, Ryan? You think the Lions could make a run to try to bolster their defense?
As of right now, as of this recording, the Detroit Lions have the 8th most amount of salary cap space with 56 million and cap space, and they're in a win now situation. They're in a situation where they went 15-2 this year, but got flamed out of the playoffs. But could you imagine Aiden Hutchinson on one side, and Myles Garrett on the other side? That is a scary combination.
Yeah,
that's a scary pass rush combination. So I'm looking at this, and you know who is a contender who could be back in this for a number of years to come, depending on how Jaden Daniels does. The Washington Commanders.
Oh, okay, yeah.
They have 82.4 million in salary cap space freed up, so they're going to become spenders in the off season during free agency. I imagine that there's conversations going on right now between Washington's GM and Cleveland's GM. The other team I could see possibly being in the mix: the Chargers, the Vikings. And there also is a contender. I mean, they're not a contender right now, but they have the most salary cap space. Actually, there's two teams who are just completely terrible, who were just awful last year, but could possibly make a run for it. The Patriots, who have over $124 million in cap space ready, and the Las Vegas Raiders, who just hired, and remember, New England. They hired Mike Vrabel, who was with the Browns last year. And the Las Vegas Raiders, who just brought in Pete Carroll, they have $96 million in cap space.
Tell you what, if Pete wants to start rebuilding that team, Myles Garrett's not a bad place to start.
Myles Garrett on one side of the ball, Max Crosby,
ridiculous.
Now, I don't think it's going to happen because they need some serious help on the offense.
For sure.
Because, I mean, the defense is all right. The offense is just, with the amount of people they lost last year and the quarterback play they had last year, they need some help.
And Pete's going to want a running back to run the ball, or more accurately, he's going to want a combination of 3 running backs to run the ball.
Right. Now, the other trade that was just kind of came out of nowhere, really. Although, when they were 1-4, there were rumblings that he was going to be shipped out of town.
Yeah.
But Cooper Kupp, Los Angeles Rams wide receiver, he wrote this on Twitter this afternoon. He wrote, and I quote, "I was informed that the team will be seeking a trade immediately and will be working with me and my family to find the right place to continue competing for championships. I don't agree with the decision and always believe it was going to begin and end in LA. It still could. I'll get to that in a second. Still, if there's one thing that I have learned over the years, there are so many things that are out of your control. But it is how you respond to these things that you will look back on and remember. I've taken so much pride in playing alongside my teammates for the LA community, so thank you for embracing my family and making this such a special place for us. 2024 began with one of the best training camps in my career. Preparations start now for 2025. Highly motivated, as healthy as ever, and looking forward to playing elite football for years to come. Love you guys, but coming for it all." End quote. I can think of a couple of places off the top of my head where he could go. I can think of one place that he could go that needs a receiver right now. And he doesn't have to go that far. The Chargers.
Yes.
Justin Herbert needs another wide receiver to throw to.
Oh man,
and he would be a perfect complementary receiver for Ladd McConkey.
Yeah. And who better to learn from than Cooper Kupp? I mean, come on, that'd be fantastic. Now, again, and I realize I have a bad habit, but I was thinking about it, and I said, if Tyler Lockett's career in Seattle is all said and done, which it appears that it is, who better to fill that slot than Cooper Kupp? It would be amazing. You have DK Metcalf, you have Cooper Kupp, and you have Jackson Smith and Jigba. You move Jackson Smith and Jigba to the outside, and then you put Cooper Kupp back in the slot. And if Jackson Smith and Jigba starts to falter, you move. You swap him out again and put Jackson back in the slot. But however, I do not think the Rams would willingly allow Cooper Kupp to go to a in-division rival like Seattle. However, if Cooper Kupp wants to play the Rams twice a year, Seattle's not a bad stop.
I got some bad news for you, though. Dustin.
Yeah.
According to Spot Track, the Seattle Seahawks are $25 million over the
Yeah,
cap.
our cap situation's horrible. See, even I know that. But
Yeah.
But
Got-
your point about him going to the Chargers, I mean, that makes all the sense in the world. That makes all the sense in the world. I could see a world too where he goes to some place that is, barring what happens with some of Kansas City's receivers, I could see him going there. He's going to look for, with his age and his injury history, he's going to look for a place where he can legitimately win now, I think.
Could you imagine him in a Lions uniform or a Bengals uniform?
Oh, man, as the Bengals. Because T. Higgins is gone. He's the one that's they're going to hang on to Chase, but you can't keep T and Chase. So,
or even a Green Bay uniform.
Oh, man.
Because they got some cap space themselves. Now, and there are some teams that are kind of garbage right now. Again, New England's one of them. Las Vegas, they would never trade him to Arizona.
Yeah,
I mean, there's some doubts that it would trade him to the Chargers because of the crosstown, but they're out of the division. They're out of conference, actually.
Yeah, they're out of conference, so they wouldn't have to deal with them except in the Super Bowl.
I mean, Tennessee looking for a weapon. They're looking for weapons, but are they willing to trade? I don't think that Cooper Kupp would be a number one pick.
And if you're Cooper Kupp, do you go from Matt Stafford throwing you the ball to Will Levis? I don't think so. Sorry, Mayo Man.
Hey, look, I mean, at least he wouldn't have any income tax in Tennessee.
It's true.
It's putting it out there. So, all right, we're going to move on to Major League Baseball. Major League Baseball veteran umpire Pat Hoberg has been fired for gambling. And I'm going to bring up an article from, I believe it was CNN that I saw. Actually, I'll bring up Yahoo Sports. So Pat Hoberg, veteran umpire, he's been in the league since 2009. So he's definitely a veteran. And actually, I suspect he's one of the more consistent umpires out there, from what I understand.
Okay.
Was fired. Although here's the thing, he says that he owns up to the fact that yes, he did do these things. He did hire people to make bets for him while he was out of state under different accounts. But he denies manipulation of the games for the outcome.
Of course.
Now, we've talked about this numerous times. Calvin Ridley being the first example of the first real person being made an example of for violating gambling restriction or violating rules against gambling in season on premises in the NFL. Now it's come to Major League Baseball, but this time it's involved an umpire, someone who does have a determining factor in games.
Yes.
Although again, he denies that the decisions he made in game or the calls he made in game had anything to do with games that he bet on. But I alluded this. We talked about this a little bit in the Discord, and I said that umpires make somewhere between $100,000 and $600,000 a year, depending on your experience, depending on how long you've been in the game, where you play, what night, or which position you're calling from one night to the next. If he's making that kind of scratch, what are you doing gambling?
Yes. You hit the nail on the head. I don't even know why. I don't even know why you would chance it. And I guess greed is a thing, right? Everybody wants to get rich quick. Hell, I would love to get rich quick. I invested it. I took some extra money that I had at the time. I was lucky enough to have at the time, and I put it into some stocks in the market, hoping that they would take off. Okay.
Mhm.
I'm not adverse of this, but if I were in a job where I was making 100K plus, which I understand in some areas of the country, it's not as much money as in others, but to me, it's a lot of money. Okay. And you get to do something that you presumably love. You presumably love umpiring baseball, and you get to do it at the highest level there is. Why chance that for a little adrenaline rush because your parlay hit and some extra cash? That's what you have to gain, but you have so much more to lose. You have a steady union job, which Ryan and I were talking in the Discord earlier today. They have they have a union. It is very hard to get fired as an MLB umpire. See Hernandez, Angel.
Angel Hernandez. Hello.
Why would you do this? It's not worth it.
Yeah. So I'm reading I'm just skimming through the article. He was apparently Major League Baseball started its investigation on him during spring training last year. And he was actually pulled from the field from an investigation, did not call a game at all last year, was officially fired on May 31st. He actually appealed the decision, which led to the decision on Monday from Major League Baseball. However, he can apply for reinstatement in spring training starting in 2026. So this leads me, so this could be akin to a 2-year suspension, or he's gone from the game because so baseball has, because you kind of left the stain, but this is not the first time a player or an umpire has left the stain on Major League Baseball. We talk about the purity of the game. Oh, this game is so pure. This game is so pure. It's so magical. It's so the feeling of being on the field is such a magical thing, and it's like baseball is super dirty. It is so dirty. Going back to the Black Sox scandal and the Black Sox scandal with the gambling ring there, the players taking bribes to throw games during the 1919 World Series. You've got so many things underneath the surface with owners blackballing players, literally and figuratively speaking. You've got the racial barrier being broken. However, players aren't allowed to still be on teams because of the color of their skin. I mean, you get the steroid scandal. You got coke. You got all sorts of drugs in the 1980s. Corked bats, spitballs, the files, the nail files on the manipulate pitches with the scratches. All the
trash cans,
the trash can scandal, steroids. I mean, look, Barry Bonds is still not in the Hall of Fame. Mark McGwire's not in the Hall of Fame. Roger Clemens is not in the Hall of Fame. These guys all admitted to taking steroids. They were caught doing it, yet who still hit all those home runs?
Mm-hmm.
Who still struck out all those batters? Look, from 1998, when baseball was in the doldrums because of the strike that ended the 1994 season, nobody's watching baseball. All of a sudden, 1998 comes around, get the Sosa McGwire sweepstakes for the home run record. People started paying attention to baseball again. They're doing their things with the enhancement. It's all being swept under the rug. And all of a sudden, we have a congressional hearing, and it's like, oh, these guys are gone. Blackballed from the game. Meanwhile, Bud Selig still gets acknowledged for bringing the game back in the 1990s and early 2000s. He knew, I suspect he knew all about this.
Oh, for sure.
And like I said, baseball has been dirty from the start. You talk about the period of the game, all the writers not allowing people in the Hall of Fame because of personal grudges or how players stay in the game. look at yourselves, guys. Look at yourselves. Look at the game. It's always been dirty. And this is just another example of that dirtiness, the pig pen that is Major League Baseball. Yeah, I said it. Pig pen. Pig pen. Major League Baseball is the pig pen of the professional sports leagues. And here we go again.
Yeah.
Which leads me to believe how deep some of these sports book rings go, because we saw it in basketball with
Tim Donaghy.
No. Well, Tim Donaghy was the first.
Yeah.
We also had the scandal back in the NCAA in the 1990s, but you had the John Tay Porter from the Toronto Raptors being banned for life. Terry Rozier, Miami Heat guard, he got kicked out. College basketball teams, they're done.
Yeah, that the point scandal, yeah.
Tucipita Marciano, Michael Kelly, Jay Groom, Jose Rodriguez, Andrew Selfrank. These guys are banned for life or suspended for gambling on baseball. We kind of opened up a Pandora's box when it came to sportsbook when it was legally allowed by the Supreme Court, and about a few years ago, states are bringing it in. Now we've kind of opened up this Pandora's box, and now we got rings going on that I'm sure are going to be investigated. And we're going to see, I think we're just really starting to scratch the surface when it comes to sportsbook and players and umpires and officials.
Yeah, unfortunately, and it's clear that people will jeopardize their livelihood in some cases for the thrill of gambling, the allure of gambling. If I was at the professional level in anything, I would not gamble. It's easy for me to say now, but maybe I get to the top, I get a little extra money. I start thinking about how much more money I could potentially make for very little, to lose in return. But it turns out you could lose a lot. I just don't understand it.
Well, as always, Uncle Dusty's pot stocks.
Well, that's, the jury's still out on them. The jury's still out.
I mean, that's a way of gambling too, right? The stock market,
is,
short-term buys and day trading and all that stuff. So yeah, everybody's got a bit of a vice, and these guys, these athletes, these officials, they get paid enough. It's like, how much more do you really need?
Yeah. But, you start to wonder, is it that adrenaline type thing? Like Michael Jordan, he's been open about saying, I do it because I enjoy it, but mostly it replicates. It's the closest to anything resembling the adrenaline shot and the feeling that you get from playing professional basketball. He's like, I can't replicate it, so I gamble because of it, the competitive nature. Who knows?
Yeah. All right, we're going to close out the show with since it's 10th episode of the year already, our favorite athletes to wear the number 10. And I've got one in mind. We talked about this before the show in the green room. He says, I got my number 10. Dustin says, I got my number 10. I'm ready to rock with it. I'm like, wait, which sport? So I'll give the floor to you. Dustin,
all right.
Your favorite athlete to wear number 10.
I'm probably going to surprise some people, and I know I will with my next pick, although if you watched our Yankees World Series episode.
Your Uncle Al has already chimed in with his. We'll get to his in a second.
Now, was there a part of me that thought about picking Mookie Blaylock because of his cultural prominence? Because people may not know this, but the album 10 by Pearl Jam.
Yep.
It's a seminal album for me. It kind of shifted my musical perspective all those years ago. I first heard it when I was 10 years old in 1994, and it was the album that started the revolution for me, not Nirvana's Nevermind. I heard 10 first. 10's original title, Mookie. The label put the kibosh on that, though.
Yep.
I did not pick Mookie Blaylock, though. The first athlete that came into my mind when I talked about my favorite number 10, I always liked him. It's one of those things I can't explain why. Longtime Edmonton Oilers center Sean Horkoff. I was always a fan of Sean
Wow.
Horkoff. Now it
Out of
could
nowhere.
I know. That's the thing. It's Sean Horkoff for me. I watched a lot of Sean Horkoff because this was an era where I had just gotten into fantasy hockey. My friend Schmitty was playing fantasy hockey. They needed an extra for their league. I decided to jump in.
Hey, Schmitty.
P. Schmitty, I feel like I've known you all my life.
Watch him show up in the chat.
Yeah, he should. He should. He has a habit
Say
of
his
doing
name
that.
and he appears. I
Yeah.
believe in Schmitty.
Yeah, come on, man. Do it one time. But it's Sean Horkoff for me, and it says a lot about that Oilers era. Sean Horkoff, Fernando Pisani, Alez Hemsky, that Cup run in 2006. Sean Horkoff, I believe, was a rookie in 2001-ish. One-ish. I think he was drafted. Maybe he was drafted. I think he was drafted in 1998 by the Edmonton Oilers. So I don't think he was a rookie in 01. But
you are wrong. He
I'm
was
wrong.
a rookie in 01.
Okay, so he
2000
was.
I'm sorry, 2001 was his
Okay,
rookie season.
okay, all right. So yes,
you were.
I was ish. I was there.
You were
But
there.
I just always liked Sean Horkoff, and I felt like he was a bit, in my eyes, he was a bit underrated for his contributions to those Oiler teams, and he was just steady. That's what I felt like when I was looking at Sean Horkoff. I think part of my reason for liking Sean Horkoff and remembering Sean Horkoff fondly is I was really tuned into the Edmonton Oilers in that era of that team, which is somewhat ironic because they weren't always very good in that era. But I really enjoyed Alez Hemsky. He's my favorite player to wear 83. He is one of my favorite Oilers. He was born the same year that I was. So I always felt a kinship with one Alez Hemsky, although he's better at everything than I'll ever be. But Sean Horkoff was a steadying presence on the line. I love to watch him play. I was sad when he got traded to the Dallas Stars. And then he had a little trouble because he got in trouble for violating the performance-enhancing substance policy. But we're not going to talk about that. Hats off to you, Sean Horkoff. You were steady for the Oilers. You were good for a long time. I enjoyed watching you play.
My number 10 comes from the basketball world. Dennis Rodman.
Oh, there you go.
Now, you may know him as number 91 on the Chicago Bulls roster, but if you followed his career, and I'm pretty sure you've watched the documentary, the 30 for 30 regarding his career.
Oh, I did.
Yes, of course, I did too. His story, his backstory, growing up in poverty, working, playing basketball. I mean, he really didn't play basketball until his late teens.
Yeah,
because he got a growth spurt where he shot up, I think, a whole foot and change, into his late teens, and he just started playing basketball like all day, all night, and worked at an airport as just cleaning up airplanes. And he was playing basketball one day, got discovered by someone from Southwest Oklahoma State University, the Savages, and played his arse off in NAIA basketball. Was noticed by Chuck Daly, and the Detroit Pistons became a huge focus of that team in the late 80s, early 90s. That started to come into prominence. They beat the Celtics. They took the Lakers to the brink in 1988, 7 games. They swept the Lakers the next year, and that was the time when Dennis Rodman was a sixth man. I believe he won the sixth man award in 1990.
He did, I think. He did, and I think that was because was that the one where they presented it to him and he cried and he was very.
That was Defensive Player of the Year.
Oh, that was Defensive Player of the Year.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, and then he won it again the next year in 1991, and the Pistons won back-to-back. Now, after that, things kind of got squiffy for him. His personal life, he contemplated things I can't say on YouTube. Because we'll get marked. But he was traded to San Antonio. Got to know Jack Haley, who unfortunately passed away a few years ago. Became one of his best friends in the team. Was released from San Antonio at the end of the 95 season. And then he was convinced by Michael Jordan to join the Chicago Bulls for the 1995-96 season. And it wasn't so much, it was kind of a turning point for him because they beat up Jordan back in those days. They created the Jordan rules.
Yep.
Where if you get Michael Jordan, if you see him, like, go defend him. If you try to go to the hole, do everything in your power to not let him score. And it kind of that was the professional Michael Jordan was, and I'm kind of going over to Dennis Rodman in a second, but that just kind of told you what Michael Jordan was. He wanted to win. It was coming back from his baseball tour with the Birmingham Barons, getting back into basketball shape, and he wanted to bring in a guy. He wanted to bring in some pieces that could take the Bulls to the next level. They bring in Dennis Rodman, who changes his number to 91, curiously enough, and they go into three-peat. And Dennis Rodman is one of those pivotal guys on the court for all those championships. Now, his career would eventually go to the LA Lakers, played 23 games with them in 1999, and then ended his career in Dallas with your Dallas Mavericks.
Yeah.
Playing 12 games for them in 99-2000. So, but in my mind, Dennis Rodman is, when I think of number 10, I mean, in soccer, the number 10 is a sacred number. I wanted to go with Lionel Messi, but I'd be accused of recency bias. But if you've seen what he's done on the soccer pitch, you understand. But for me, when I think of number 10, Dennis Rodman is it. And I remember reading a story on Facebook one day about Dennis Rodman. And this was during his time with the Detroit Pistons. They noticed him one day that while in practice, like, he was off to the side, doing kind of his own thing. I wouldn't say doing his own thing, but he was just observing. He was just observing the shooting of everyone going on. He wasn't taking part in practice and shooting practice. And people are asking him, what's going on? Why isn't Dennis participating in practice? And Dennis told, I think it was Joe Dumars. Joe Dumars asked him, hey man, why don't you out there shooting? Why don't you out there shoot for shooting practice? He goes, I'm watching the arc of the ball, and I'm watching how the shooter rotates, how the ball rotates when the shot is taken. Because that way I'll know which way the ball is going for the rebound. And that was the basketball IQ that Dennis Rodman has. That's why he was such a great rebounder, so good on the defensive boards, on blocks. He could just read the way the opposing player was shooting the ball, look at the rotation, and know where to be when that shot went off the backboard, went off the rim. He would be there for the rebound. That's why he was such a dominating force under the boards for all those years in Detroit, which carried over into San Antonio when he was with David Robinson and Sean Elliott and that team, which carried over to the Bulls with Jordan and Pippen. And but all this stuff off the court, his being mercurial, all the antics he had off the court didn't mean anything when he was on the court.
Mm-hmm.
Like, all the off the court stuff they were okay with. Like, yeah, he's going to be that guy. He's just Dennis being Dennis. But on the court, like, he could be out all night on a bender, drinking, partying, but be back and dominate the boards every single night. And he would get those keyboards for you when you needed a rebound to end the game, and then close things out. But that's the guy I think of is Dennis Rodman, and of course your Uncle Al, Eli Manning, number 10, who is in the running for the Hall of Fame, for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So
I think he may get there based on those two
there.
Brady Bowls.
Yeah, he gets there for sure. All right, we're gonna wrap things up, but before we do that, just a reminder about our socials. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and on YouTube. Also, visit bellyupsports.com for much more of our podcasts and our written articles there. On the podcast side, subscribe to the podcast wherever you podcast, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Amazon Music, iHeart, TuneIn, and Pandora. And don't forget to get yourself notified on Twitter and on YouTube. That way you know when show announcements go up, when shorts go up, when clips go up on our YouTube channel. You can go ahead and watch them. Got some pretty good views in terms of a couple of our last shorts regarding the Eagles and the Jerry Jones and Cal Rip. You showing your mad respect to Cal Ripken Jr. We're getting a lot of views for so thank you to everyone who's viewed those shorts. On the podcast side, rate, review, comment, leave us a 5-star rating. If you're on a podcast platform where you can review, leave us a review. And if you're on Spotify, leave us a comment. We might read all 3 on the air. Well, we can't read the rating, but we can at least read the reviews in the comments. And also, if you're watching on replay on Belly Up Sports, on the YouTube channel on Belly Up Sports, leave us a comment because, again, it drives the algorithm. It brings people to Belly Up Sports, the YouTube page. We're trying to get more people to watch our shows and our podcasts on there. We're going to get out of here. Show went longer than we thought it would, but hey, when you get rolling, you get rolling.
When you have someone who opens the show with about 30 minutes on a Luka Doncic trade, it's going to happen.
But yes, we're going to get out of here. Thank you for joining us on No Credentials Required, where you don't need a press pass to talk sports. We are proudly presented by Belly Up Sports. We'll be back on Saturday morning at 10 a.m. for yet another Super Bowl preview with our friends, Cole Johnson, and our special guest, Victor Locke, or as we like to call him, Tune in then. Until next time, we'll see you on Saturday. Oh, I can't hear you. You're still muted.
Good night, everybody.
There it is.